Sharif is right there.
Ma'am,
Release the accredited journalist now!
From the convention
You are violating my constitutional right. You are
Sidewalk
violating
now.
Sir, I want to talk to you.
Arrest him.
Do not arrest me.
Right, sir.
Go right there. He's under arrest. Stay right there. Back up. Back up.
Hey guys, if you cross this line, you'll be under arrest, so don't do it.
Amy, we're going to get you out of here very soon.
Outrageous.
Yes, we have people working on it.
Has a bloody nose, and that Sergeant McKenzie said they won't put me on this if Nicole's not there.
I'm Malia Brooker. You're watching Freespeech TV, and we are here with Amy Goodman, who was recently released. Tell us what happened with you and the other Democracy Now! Producers.
Well, Malia, I was arrested a few hours ago. I was actually on the convention floor talking to delegates at the Republican National Convention from Minnesota and Alaska because Sarah Palin, the governor, has been nominated to be vice president. And I got a call on my cell phone that two of our producers, Sharif and Nicole Salazar, had been arrested. So Rick Rowley, the videographer, and I raced down through the St. Paul streets to try to make sure that they would be released. And when I went up to the police officer and asked to speak to the commanding officer, they arrested me. They put me in handcuffs behind my back. They forced me down on the ground. Although I had all of my ID, to get me onto the floor of the convention, you need top security ID. I had my Democracy Now! ID very clearly marked, and I had all of my identification. They took that from me. The Secret Service took my security ID for the convention, and they arrested me. They took everything from me. They brought me to the jail, which are, they have these pens inside the police garage where we are put. But Nicole Salazar and Sharif Abdel-Quddus have gone to prison. They've been jailed and we need to make sure that they get out. They say they're charging them with a felony with PC riot, which is probable cause riot. They are allowed to be held for 36 hours without charge. That would start at midnight tonight because it's Labor Day, which would mean they would get out on Wednesday. This is unacceptable. We are there reporting on what is happening. There were major peaceful protests today in St. Paul. We're covering all of them. We come from New York, where the police have paid out hundreds of millions of dollars as a result of the kind of activity that we're seeing some of here after the Republican National Convention in 2004, when police just round up people wholesale. Sharif Abdel-Quddus and Nicole Salazar heard a commotion downstairs by 7th and Jackson here in St. Paul. Nicole had her camera. Sharif was with her. They were fully identified. When they saw the police converging from 3 places, it happened very quickly. Nicole said to one of the officers, "How do I leave?" They told her to go back. But before she could do this, and the video she has of this is very dramatic, they pushed her to the ground. They dragged her by her leg. She was scratched on her face, trying to keep her face up as they were dragging her. She got a bloody nose. When I was arrested and I was demanding to be able to see our producer, to see Sharif Abdel-Quddus and Nicole Salazar, I said, "She has a bloody nose. I demand to see her." He said, "Listen, what's a bloody nose? I was knifed." I said, "Sir, we were not responsible for that," meaning he was talking about a whole other time in his life. I said, "I am sorry that at some point in your life you were hurt like that, but that does not justify doing this to our reporter, to our producer. This is unacceptable." Reporters are the eyes and ears of the community. We cannot be threatened. We mustn't be jailed. There is a reason why our profession is the only one explicitly protected by the U.S. Constitution. We're supposed to be a check and balance on those in power, and there is no more important time than now. Nicole and Sharif have to be freed. The police chief must be called. They've got to get out of jail now. This kind of repression has to stop. We have to be able to report to ensure that we live in a democratic society. Cell Center last night, nearly 400 people were being arrested on the streets of St. Paul, bringing the total number of convention-related arrests to more than 800. On Thursday afternoon, several hundred anti-war protesters had rallied at the state capitol about 5 p.m. when their protest permit expired. They tried to march to the convention center, but in one of the largest shows of police force during the Republican Republican convention. Hundreds of riot police arrived on the scene backed by snow plows, horses, and dump trucks to seal off downtown from the demonstrators. The protesters continued walking, tried to cross several bridges that span Interstate 94 into downtown St. Paul. As night fell, police turned to harsher tactics. They fired concussion grenades, smoke bombs, pepper spray into the crowd. The march ended with more than 200 demonstrators trapped on the Marion Street Bridge with hundreds of police in riot gear blocking either side. The protesters were forced to sit on the tarmac with their hands on their heads. The police then moved in and arrested everybody, including more than a dozen members of the media. Among them, Rick Rowley of Big Noise Films and Democracy Now! Producer Sharif Abdel-Qaddous, who'd been arrested on Monday as well, while covering a separate protest. Rick and Sharif were cuffed, detained for about an hour and a half before being released and issued a citation for unlawful assembly. I arrived on the scene from the convention center as they were being released. I saw Ramsey County Sheriff Bob Fletcher nearby. I asked him about their arrest. Can I just ask, how is the press expected to function in St. Paul?
Well, you'll have to ask Chief Harrington. The arrests were made by the St. Paul Police Department, and this is the way that they chose to resolve the issue of the press being there. The city attorney's office will have to make the decision as to whether people are charged or not, but as you can see, we've released the press as quickly as possible, and most everyone else will be going down to the jail.
But they were released and charged with misdemeanors. They get a record for trying to cover a protest.
You understand how the system works. The St. Paul Police Department made the arrest, and we're the detention facility, and we have a choice as to how we want to detain and process, but we do not have a choice regarding the citation. The citation it has Commander Steve Frazier's name. He was the incident commander at the time, and the arrest is pursuant to his decision.
Were any other reporters released?
Well, you know, if you find that out, you call me, and if that's the case, you know, we'll certainly talk to Chief Harrington and say if someone was treated in a different way, they should receive a citation. It won't be difficult to issue a citation under those circumstances. But nobody got hurt.
But as a well, I think the Constitution got hurt. When reporters are cited with misdemeanors, when they're peacefully there covering protests, we've come in from out of town to cover a major national event, which is the convention.
And you realize that I'm talking to you because I've always believed that every elected official should be accessible and answer questions. You should never avoid them. But I can't answer all your questions because the St. Paul Police Department made the arrest.